UNGA. On the news tonight, ahead of NLC-TUC indefinite strike, Attorney General of the Federation calls for caution. Federal government says to train 2 million youths on digital skill innovation. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria commend Nigeria's involvement with global leaders at the just concluded UNGA. Good evening and welcome to NTA Jabode News at 7, coming to you from your heritage station. Thanks for joining us. I am Olamumi Adeniji. Here are the details of our package. In keeping to the promise of job creation, President Tinubu has unveiled the FGN Alert Digital Skill Innovation Program for micro, small, and medium enterprises. Vice President Kashim Shettima at the event said the initiative is expected to impact 2 million youths and 1 million MSMEs. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibril has more.
Centralized platform for providing cutting-edge digital skills, mentorship, and networking opportunities to Nigeria's young entrepreneurs. The initiative, a partnership between the federal government and a commercial bank, is expected to establish digital and skill innovation hubs across states to empower the main targets and other relevant skills.
We are committed to leaving no one behind on this journey towards digital enlightenment. Nigeria, with its expanding MSME sector of close to 40 million, has the potential to lead business innovation beyond Africa. The Skill Innovation Program, therefore, aims to unlock this immense potential. The initiative is designed to provide the necessary tools and skills for our MSMEs to thrive and compete on the global stage.
And this, for allowing this wonderful program at this time when the whole world switch from analog to digital economy.
So Nigeria is on its way to becoming a superpower because technology runs the world and we have the engine to help the world power this new development. This is why this initiative is extremely important.
The beneficiaries will be trained on software engineering, product management, business analysis, cloud computing, and product design using specialized resources.
We started with 8 states. We moved to 15, and I'm sure before the next 12 months, this program will have a presence in all 36 states and the FCT. Keeping our promise to be with you all the way, our longevity and resilience are the results of constant innovation and rebirth. This is why, nearly 8 decades after, we remain at the vanguard of financial services in Nigeria.
God, for Mr. President, we need us to work a lot with the private sector. And His Excellency has also consistently assured the private sector that this government is ready to provide the enabling environment, the sort of support that the private sector needs.
The program is part of mechanism put in place to revive the Nigerian economy, with banks as key players towards the drive. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
And in the meantime, the saying that the future of every country lies in the hands of our youths could only come true in Nigeria if the youth maximize the opportunities provided by cyberspace globally to develop self-capacity on all fronts. This was a consensus viewed at an event organized by cybersecurity experts in partnership with the National Orientation Agency, NOA, on the need to promote cybersecurity. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Emerging technologies in cyberspace are providing young people with both positive and negative options. This gathering of experts in ICT and cyberspace technology is worried about the trend. They are warning young people to be cautious of the dangers of the internet. Here, parents and guardians have great role to play.
Foster an environment where your child feels comfortable discussing their online experiences. Regularly check in about the websites they visit, the games they play, and the people they talk to.
We need to create it as a curriculum in the secondary schools. This will do an amazing job of giving cyber awareness to the young people.
Information sharing between public and private institutions is one of the means identified in this forum as ways of combating cybersecurity attacks.
As much as we are excited about this innovation, I want us to also be mindful of those things along the way that could hit back at us.
We need to rewrite our stories and tell the world again we can do it right from the palms of our hands. This is the power that we have been given.
The National Orientation Agency is also championing public awareness campaigns aimed at widening conversations on the issues.
The NOA has established over 3,500 integrity clubs in schools across Nigeria where we carry out engagement like this.
I think one of the most primordial virtues that we should imbibe in ourselves is the virtue of discipline and the virtue of resilience, and ensuring that we do what is right.
Another thing is the cyber fraud that we are all aware of. The easy way to make it. I think it's a very common thing in Nigeria. It's not something new. Young people want to make it the fast way.
With the youth already abreast with initiatives on the way to go, the event is therefore a build-up on the gains already made. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi-San, has advised the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress to refrain from disobeying the restraining order of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, barring them from embarking on strike. In a letter addressed to the Council to the trade unions, Femi Falana-San, the AGF noted that since issues canvassed by the NSC and TUC for deciding to embark on the indefinite strike next Tuesday are already receiving attention, it would not be wise to disobey the court's directive. Nigeria's engagements with global leaders at the just concluded United Nations General Assembly, guest on Good Morning Nigeria says is attracting support towards the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. These, they believe, will be fast-tracked by President Bola Tinubu's 8-point agenda, which is in line with its Sustainable Development Goals. Lydia Sampson reports.
78 again provided the platform for countries of the world to engage, interface, and reinforce commitments made by member nations. For Nigeria, seizing the opportunity to canvass a more coordinated action against the duplication of efforts was top on agenda. For the realization of President Bola Tinubu's 8-point agenda, also critical is tackling violent extremism and mitigating illegal mining.
You can talk about fighting corruption, rule of law, and so on and so forth. So you can see the overlap between the Sustainable Development Goals and President Tinubu's agenda, which is why it was important we were out there. It's a platform for multilateralism.
It is important to put investment on the table, but there are other vital issues like sharing of information, sharing of security cooperation, and also agreeing on the agenda of the United Nations. So the essence of such meetings is actually to really restore or reiterate confidence in each other.
The need for deliberate efforts towards implementing the visible outcomes of UNGA 78 in line with the yearnings of Nigerians, they noted, must be sustained through genuine advocacy and multilateral actions.
Presently, we have about 15.7 million persons on our National Social Register. It's a data that has different variables expressing the multidimensional poverty which I talked about and categorizing persons. Now we want to double this to at least 30 million households and 160 million individuals. This is to bring the services, the impact, the monitoring and evaluation, everything closest to the people as possible.
The girls decried the spate of security concerns in Africa occasioned by coups. They applauded President Bola Tinubu for not mincing words in positioning Nigeria and Africa in the right perspective. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
We are going on a short break now. We'll be right back with more stories.
This kilo, báwo la ti fẹ́ sanwó ni? Farabalẹ̀. 1,000. We go wash plate tire o. Farabalẹ̀ now.
Madam, èló lówó wa?
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Ó yá.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
You are welcome back and thanks for being there. The news continues. A valuable document to aid parenting for peace has been presented to the public. Elizabeth Omoruyi reports that the document launched by the Ministry of Women Affairs in conjunction with USAID and Mercy Corps is expected to serve as a guide for families, educational institutions, and Nigerians in the fight against violent extremism.
Terrorism continues to pose a major threat to peace and security in most nations across the globe, undermining core values. For these reasons, the Parenting for Peace P4P Guide, peace advocates say, will assist in addressing threats of violent extremism from the home front. Minister of Women Affairs and other speakers insist the document will serve as a multi-sectoral response for the youth to have safe and inclusive society.
The way you live with your husband in the house equally determines how your children will grow up to be. You have to open up a door for your children to feel free to communicate with you. Don't compare them with any other child. Your child is your child.
For the sake of Nigeria, to be one and to be united, to be peaceful, we have to do something on the economic situation of the country.
Other peace advocates urge parents and caregivers to be conflict sensitive. They recommend inclusion of the P4P in school curriculum by the Ministry of Education in Abuja. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Diversifying the Nigerian economy, creating opportunities and implementing a set of measures in some priority sectors like agri-food, plastics, and e-waste is central to the National Transition Framework of the Nigerian Circular Economic Roadmap. Charles Alpha has more on the validation workshop organized for critical actors by the Ministry of Environment and the European Union.
That in waste lies great economic opportunities, and attendees here believe it could even lead to increased economic activities and create additional jobs if a national framework towards actualizing a circular economy roadmap of Nigeria is unified. Statistics shows that Nigeria, with a population of over 200 million people, generates about 32 million tons of solid waste every year. This, the Environment Ministry believes, presents circular economy business opportunities across the waste management value chain.
The scope of the study is basically to carry out feasibility studies of all circular economy and natural capital accounting activities in the country and develop a circular economy roadmap to guide Nigeria's transition to a more circular economy.
The European Union delegation to the Federal Ministry of Environment and the government of Netherlands are assessing the level of the policy and are interested in supporting Nigeria's adoption of plastic waste operationalization policy for a greener planet.
But it's also, and I think, an important aspect that we are looking at is the economic development.
Today's activity being a validation workshop is so important because it provides a national framework that every state in the country can then domesticate.
Creating a path to a circular economy, they believe, will build more resilience that will prevent future disruptions from scarcity to biodiversity and climate change. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The United Nations Humanitarian Team and Northeast Civil Society Network have made a case for victims displaced by insurgency in the Northeast, and it is in the area of inclusion of victims in the Bono model. Charles Alpha reports they also stress the need for healing and capacity building to bring about stability, sustainable peace, and livelihoods in areas affected.
Insecurity in the Northeast had lingered with widespread displacement and destructions of livelihoods, schools, farmlands, and infrastructure, coupled with drought. However, with relentless efforts by government, the United Nations programs, and efforts by humanitarian organizations, life is steadily returning back to affected areas. This Northeast humanitarian situation retreat by the United Nations team and Northeast Society Network is an attempt to reflect and develop appropriate for repentant Boko Haram's members.
13 years of insurgency has exposed a lot of people. They have lost their means of livelihood and so on and so forth. So for us to get it right, I think all of us, we need to come together.
Governments in the Northeast, the federal government intends to partner with them also to make sure that insurgency and terrorism in the Northeast is a thing of the past.
At the end of the retreat, identifying with the Northeast governors to mobilize funds for the program was one of the resolutions reached. The network acknowledges the military operation which has brought relative peace to the Northeast.
I think your president put Nigeria back on the map, not as a negative country, but as a country that will lead positive change and will be at the forefront of rescuing the SDGs.
The Northeast Civil Society Network in the last 13 years has been in the forefront as first respondent in the Northeast, responding to the humanitarian situations in the region. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And that ends today's package. Idowu Ogunbade is standing by to bring the Yoruba version of the news. Do have a good night and a beautiful weekend.